Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Today on Ciao Italia, deconstructed cannoli. I don't know if you know this, but there is nothing really new in food. I've said this for years. As a cook, it's how it's been rearranged. And today, we are going to rearrange the traditional cannoli. I'm going to show you how. We're going to make something called deconstructed cannoli. And it's a lot easier than trying to put them around a form, but I'm going to show you that too. So first of all, you have to make the dough. And I was mesmerized just recently when I was in Sicily. I went to a ricotta sheep farm where they were making wonderful ricotta cheese, which is the typical filling for cannoli. And there I had the most wonderful cannoli I have ever eaten, even better than mine. So today I'm going to attempt to kind of duplicate that. So you want to start with some unbleached all-purpose flour. You need about a cup. And you see here I have mine on a scale so that I know exactly that I'm going to get a cannoli shell that is crisp. So this is about 124 grams. And if you were using a dry measure instead of using a scale, you would have to lightly spoon the flour into your measuring cup from your flour bag until you went over the top of your measuring cup. And once you got to the top of the cup, then you want to just spoon off the excess flour over the top. That will give you a better approximation as to a cup of flour instead of digging the flour out of your flour bag. So now that you know that, we can continue on. So if I just take the rest of this flour and put it in there, I am going to have a cup of flour in a dry measure. So I'm going to put it in my bowl. And so if you're going to do any kind of serious baking, I do suggest you get a scale. So let me put this aside. All right, so how do you make cannoli dough? Well, we have our flour, and then we want a tablespoon of sugar and a tablespoon of butter. Now, years ago, of course, this was lard, but we all know what a no-no that is. And a pinch of salt. So you can either do this in a machine, a food processor, or you could do it in a bowl. I'm just going to do it in a bowl for you. I'm going to get this butter softened. So start with butter that isn't real soft, but something that you can mash down with a pastry blender like this. Or you could just use a fork if you didn't have a pastry blender. So you want to get something, the mixture to be a bit mealy looking. Then what else do we add to this? Well, you know, there are so many recipes out there for cannoli, but really the traditional cannoli had either white wine or Marsala wine. This is Marsala. It comes from the town of Marsala on the western side of the island of Sicily. And so we're going to use Marsala. I'm going to put about 4 tablespoons in here. So let's start with 3 tablespoons because we don't know where this liquid is going to take us in terms of the wetness or dryness of the dough. I can always add more. So you start by getting that Marsala wine mixed in with the butter. And I can tell that I do need more wine. I may need a couple tablespoons more, so I'm going to stop. This is all trial and error, and each time I make this dough, of course, it's a little different depending on how I feel that day, the temperature of the air is. All right, so that was another tablespoon and a half. Again, you got to take your time with this because once you get this into a dough, then you have to chill this because we're going to roll this out and put it through a pasta machine. And we still need more. So that was 4. I'm going to add 2 more. 1, 2. If it gets too wet, we can always add some flour. But now I think we're getting to where we need to be. So I would say once you have it in a ball, you want to knead it for a few minutes so that it's nice and smooth, and then you want to wrap it in some paper, plastic wrap, and put it in the refrigerator to chill for about 30 minutes, I would say. So that's good. We're going to take that out, put it right in our bowl, and just knead it until it's smooth. Try not to add any more flour to it unless you absolutely have to, because we don't want the shells to be too tough. We want them to be nice and moist and crispy. All right, so once you don't see any more flour in the dough, in the ball of dough, then you roll it into a ball, so to speak, like that, and you wrap it in some plastic wrap. So while this ball of dough is chilling, we can make the filling for the dough. And I'm not using sheep's milk ricotta because that's very hard to come by in the States, but if you were in Sicily, that's what you would be using. Instead, we are going to make this with cow's milk ricotta cheese, and a cheese that I made myself. So, as I told you, if we were in Sicily and we ordered a cannolo, which is one of a cannoli, we would be having a filling of sheep's milk ricotta cheese that's sweetened. But we don't live in Sicily, we live here. So the next best thing is to use a whole milk ricotta. So you can either buy that in a store or you could make it. And it's very easy to make. And if you want to know how to make it, you can go to the Ciao Italia website. The recipe is right there. So here's my homemade ricotta. So I want about, a cup of this. So I'm going to take just about half of this. And I just want you to see how beautiful that is. Look. No preservatives, no excess salt, the real thing. So I'm going to take that and put it right here in my bowl. And we'll just set this one aside. So with this ricotta now, we want to flavor it. So let me break it up, and you see how dry it is. Too many times you buy commercially prepared ricotta cheese that's very wet. And then you have to, it's soupy almost, and you have to drain it. That's the worst thing you want for a cannoli, because you know how crispy a cannoli shell should be. Well, the filling should be not wet, but very dry. Otherwise, it's going to help make that cannoli shell soggy, and we don't want that. So you want to break it up. See how dry it is. I'm going to give it just a pinch of salt, and we're going to add about a half a cup of heavy cream. So I'm just going to eyeball this and see where we go. So I want to smooth out this cheese. I don't want to make it too soupy because it has to go into our shells very easily. So it's, almost to a thick consistency, like maybe, you can see here like a pudding consistency almost. So smooth it out. And then we want to add some classic Sicilian ingredients to this. So I'm very proud of these. Take a look. These are the pistachios from Bronte, Sicily. Let me show you. They're called the green gold of Sicily. You know why? Because look at that pretty green color. And every year in Bronte, they have what's called the sagra. A sagra means a festival where they celebrate the pistachio nut. So we want about a half a cup of pistachios. But first I want to put in about 3 tablespoons of confectioner sugar. So there's 3 tablespoons of sugar. Give that a little sweetness. Cannoli filling really shouldn't be super duper sweet. It should just be slightly sweetened because you're going to put some other things in here that are going to sweeten it. So there's the sugar. And then we want 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Here is cinnamon. You can buy it in any grocery store. And this gives a slight interesting kick to the cannoli filling, so you mix that all around. And of course, spices like these were introduced into Sicily by the Arabs in the 9th century. In fact, It's believed that the Arabs were the first ones to introduce the original cannoli into Sicily. All right, so here are my ground up pistachios, about a half a cup. They go in. Mix them around. And now I know what you're saying. Where am I going to find pistachio nuts from Bronte? Well, you actually can find them. If you go online, you'll be able to buy those very pistachio nuts. They're not cheap, but you could also use just regular pistachio nuts from the grocery store in a bag, already shelled for you. Now I'm going to add some chocolate. And here we're using semi-sweet chocolate. You buy it in little blocks like this, usually about 3.5 ounces in a bar. Here it is chopped up. We're going to add that to our cannoli filling. You mix this really, really well. And we're going to put that in the refrigerator. Remember, we're doing a deconstructed cannoli. Make sure that it's well mixed. And you see how dry this has stayed. I remember my mother making so many cannoli shells. The house smelled beautiful when she was done. It smelled of cinnamon and chocolate, and they were just delicious. There's nothing like a homemade cannoli. Okay, so there's our filling. So now we want to cover this with some plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator while we work with the dough. So you just cover it, and in the fridge it goes. So these are my grandmother's. These are the forms that she used. They're wood, and you can see how long the cannoli was by looking at that mark right there where the dough was wrapped around the form. And I use these a lot because I can handle the cannolo after it's fried a lot better than if I were using a metal form. Most people can find these in a kitchen store, or sometimes you can find them in the grocery store. These are metal. It's another way to wrap the dough around the form, but then you have to wait until these cool down much longer than for the wooden one. And there are various sizes. So you see there's this long size, and then you have a shorter size. And then I like this size. You know why? Because a cannoli should really be eaten not with a fork or a knife if you're making the traditional one, but in 2 bites. And if you make one that is small enough, then you can do the 2 bites without having a mess all over. So these I often use to make the cannoli. See? And I just wrap it right around that form. And then I can just whittle it off like that. And you see, it's nice and crispy. And the thing is, you never want to fill those until you're just ready to serve them. So, but to do the deconstructed cannoli, we're going to use this. See this? It's just a little top from a little limoncello that I had. So it's about 3 inches in diameter. Or you could use a 3-inch cookie cutter. Could use the top to a jar, a glass turned upside down. You want them about 3 inches in diameter. So we're going to keep the cannoli flat this time. That's the deconstructed part. We're not going to roll them around the form to fry them. So now that you know what we're going to do, let me get the dough so that we can begin working on that. So I've got the dough in the fridge, chilled. Here it is. So you see it's nice and chilled. Let me put this back here because I don't want to ruin it. And so you want to work with small pieces at a time. And you can do this in 2 ways. You can either do it by hand, rolling it out till it's really thin, or you could roll it to the thickness that you like. I see a lot of commercially made cannoli shells that are very, very thick. That's not what you really want. You want something that's thin. So you can either do that, roll it by hand, or I like to use my pasta machine as if I was just rolling out a sheet of pasta. So let me flatten down a piece of this. I can actually get about 18 cannoli out of this dough. So I'm just going to put a smidge of flour down there and pat that dough a little bit. and just flatten it somewhat with a rolling pin so that I can get it through my pasta machine. You see, I don't really need to add any more flour because the dough is not sticking. Okay, that's good enough. So now I start like I start for pasta, on two. Putting the dough in the machine and then working up in increments. I usually do 2, 4, 6, until I'm to the point where I think that this dough is thin enough. This all comes with trial and error. Now, you can see my hand? I hope you can see my hand. You can see my hand behind this dough. So I'm going to shut that off and just show you what you do next. So then, again, on a floured board, not too much flour, just put your sheet and take your cutter and just cut out circles. See? And you save the, oh, that's not a good one. And so you save the scraps because you're going to rework that dough. So if we were doing just a regular cannoli, we would do this. We would take this dough and lift it up over, put a little bit of water right there, and then bring this edge up and really just pinch that edge, just like that. See? Pinch it closed. And this would go into 370-degree frying oil. But we're not going to do this. We're going to do flat ones. So we have, in order to do the recipe that I'm doing, we need to roll out a lot of discs because we need 3 per serving. Because we're going to fill these with the ricotta that we made. So we want 3 discs. 1 on the bottom and 1 on the top, and the filling in between 2 so that we have 3. So let me roll that out again. Again, you're starting back here on 2. Sure that's on 2, yep. And you notice I have a trusty little motor on my machine. They don't come that way, but because I do a lot of pasta, I have replaced my hand crank with a motor, which makes things a lot easier. So you see how stretchy this dough is? Really stretchy. It's going to take you a couple times to get this just right. I know it took me quite a number of times. All right, so you can see my hand right underneath that dough. Again, now you can make these as thin or as thick as you want them. Another circle. And let's do one more. And I think you get the idea. So now it's time to fry. So in a heavy-duty pot or in a deep fryer, you have got to heat up some vegetable oil, sunflower oil, whatever you want to use, to 375 degrees. And I just stuck my thermometer in there. But if you didn't have a thermometer, then you want to take a little bit of the dough, just a wad of it, put it in there. And if it bobs to the top, well, then you know that the oil is ready. So let me get rid of that. And so here are our discs. Remember, we're just doing this as discs. So we put them in the oil, and they should bubble. And you got to watch them. So I would only see how fast they come to the top. So you got to really, don't put too many in at once. You really want to just fry a few at a time. And you use a slotted spoon to get them out. Don't be in too big of a hurry to turn them because you want them to really get a little color on them on the bottom. And you be very careful because you're dealing with hot oil. Now originally these were fried in lard, which gave them that really extra crispy texture. So this is coming out. You see the little bubbles and everything in there? Just like you would have if you were doing a cannoli shell. Take them out onto paper and let them drain really, really well. So here they are, all cooled, and you see they've retained their little bubbly shape. They're like eating potato chips. So now what do you do with them? Well, first of all, I've put the filling in a pastry bag. If you don't have a pastry bag, well, then you're just going to do this with a spoon. But it's much easier because they're so fragile to do it with a pastry bag. So I get out my Sicilian plate that I brought from Sicily, and you put one of these discs down. And then you take your pastry cream and you put some right in the center like that. Okay? And then you just kind of gently spread it around like that. This is really a delicious dessert. Then you take another disc and you put it on top gently. You take more of this ricotta filling. Whoops. Spread it around with a small spoon. Okay? Just like that. Remember, you've got the chocolate, you've got the pistachio nuts. And then you take your last disc and you put it on top like that. And then you take some confectioner's sugar right over the top, just like that. Now, if you wanted to make the traditional cannoli shell, you can do the same thing with this pastry bag, see? You just put a little pressure and you fill it. It should go right through. And then you go to the other side. See? Like that. Put that down. Give it a little powdered sugar. There you have it, deconstructed and traditional cannoli. The queen of all Sicilian desserts is without a doubt cannoli. And here we have them in two forms. The traditional, of course, made around a form that I showed you earlier, and this newer version, a deconstructed cannoli, where we left the dough flat, fried it, and then filled it with fresh ricotta, chocolate, pistachio, cinnamon, sugar. It's all ready to be enjoyed. And those shells are nice and dirty, really good. And then, if you're still in the mood for something from Sicily, what about a beautiful pistachio cake, also from around the area of Bronte? This is a basic egg, sugar, and flour cake that we folded a little bit of pistachio oil into to give it some flavor, and then ground up pistachio nuts. And then we filled it with a pistachio cream of whipped cream and ground pistachio nuts, and topped the cake with whipped cream and pistachio nuts. Ready to be enjoyed with a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, an espresso. And until I see you nella cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Ciao!
Last floor we had the servants they lived. We had the kitchen. For this reason the space was small. In case of fire,